Hey Aquarius, welcome to your reading. So I'm taking a quick check on your energy now at the end of 2020 and the beginning of 2021. And I think that this has been a very interesting year for you because all the Pluto conjunctions have been going on in your 12th house. So a lot of the unconscious mind has been brought up to surface. A lot of how you deal with others, how you deal with yourself, but you don't really recognize that. It's still in the unconscious. This has been going through intense transformation with the Pluto-Jupiter, Pluto-Saturn conjunctions going on all in Capricorn in your 12th house, okay? And this is especially true if you are an Aquarius rising. Now, one thing that I really like for you is that tomorrow, the moment that I'm recording this video, I'm recording it on the 13th. Yeah, 13th of December. Oh, and as I look at it, it's 13th of December, 13:13 afternoon. So that's actually interesting. I think that's something big about this eclipse for you because this is crazy. Let me show you this. Yeah, so 13:13 of 13th of December. So tomorrow is the solar eclipse in Sagittarius, and that's happening in your 11th house, and Aquarius rules the 11th house. The 11th house is about your dreams, is about your goals, the big dreams, you know, the things that you really want for your life, those long-term goals that you see like all the way there. And with this new moon, this supercharged new moon, which is the solar eclipse in your 11th house, I think that it will open a lot of new possibilities for you for the year of 2021. So I really like to see that. And besides that, I've also been talking with all the zodiacs about Chiron. And Chiron is the wounded healer. It's an unhealed wound that we have in all of us. We all have Chiron somewhere in our chart. And doesn't matter how hard we try, we will always feel inadequate around it. We just don't seem to be able to get through it. Okay? And right now, Chiron is in Aries. And with Chiron in Aries, we feel an inadequacy in being assertive, in taking ownership, accountability, leadership, okay, which are characteristics of Aries. And this is happening in your 3rd house, in your natural 3rd house. So I wonder if this year you have been feeling especially inadequate in communicating in a more assertive way. And you are an air sign. You are highly rational, and you are also ruled by Uranus. So you have that very inventive mind. You have that super inventive mind. Okay. Okay. And that's interesting. So you have that very inventive mind, and for some reason this year you have been feeling like you just can't be as assertive, intuitive, direct in your communication as you would like to be. Okay. With Chiron in there. So let's take a look at how this ties with your reading and how you're ending the year of 2020 and starting the year of 2021. So we open your reading with the 5 of water, which is the 5 of cups. And this talks to me about grieving. I think you're grieving the end of something, okay? The loss of something. And it's interesting because in the Rider-Waite, the image of this card is a man, and he's crying over 3 spilled cups, and he doesn't see that he still has 2 cups behind him. But in this card, it's different. So the 5 of water, she's completely underneath water, and she's just lost in her thoughts, wandering in the distance. So even though you are the 5 of water here and you are mourning something, you are under the water you don't have any, you don't have much clarity about it yet. I think that the inner workings that cause this ending, or the inner workings that have been triggered by these endings, more than that, actually, I think more than that, the inner workings that have been triggered by this ending are not completely seen to you yet. So I don't see this card as you having the 2 cups behind you, something that you can look back and see that there is still hope. I don't think it's about that. I think it's more that you are not completely recognizing yet the triggers that are being set by what happened. You are not completely recognizing yet the inner transformation that this ending is putting into motion. I think that is still being brought up to the surface for you. But right now, you're not completely realizing that yet. It's still in the 12th house. It's still in the unconscious. And we need to wait for it a bit to be brought into the 1st house. So for it to be brought into the reality of who we are. So we start your reading completing that, what I just said, because we have the 9 of Swords in the reverse. And the 9 of Swords is a card of nightmares, is a card of stress, of anxiety, of sleepless nights, of just thinking over something over and over and over again. And do you see how he has his hands on his face? And he's crying and he's scared and he's afraid. So I think that whatever this ending was is something that put a lot of stress on you. But you're coming out of it. So I like seeing that, okay? So starting your reading, you're coming out of it. And then the first row is completely mental. So you are pretty much in your element here since you're on air sign, okay? So even though you had a lack of clarity with the 9 of Swords in the reverse, you had a moment of stress, of anxiety, of not thinking straight, of being led by your fears. You are coming more into your element here, of your rational mind, and not being so trapped in your thoughts, in the thoughts that you're creating. But then we also have the Page of Swords, and we have the 2 of Swords. And what these cards talk to me about is that I think there is some sort of communication that you want, or that you are expecting from someone. And I don't know if you are ready to make that communication yourself, or if you are just waiting for someone to talk to you, okay? So take as it resonates. I don't know what is your personal situation, but I see that there is a communication that you have been waiting for, and either you're ready to make it, and I think it's more you towards someone, because you are in the upright here, as the Page of Swords. So I think that you wonder when is the right time. And sorry if you're hearing some noise, I'm a bit hungry and my stomach is rumbling and I can hear it from here, so maybe you're catching on the microphone, I don't know. But so the Page of Swords tells me that there is a communication that you want to deliver to someone, but with the 2 of Swords, you are delaying it. Or if this is someone else and you're waiting for them to communicate with you, then they are delaying it, okay? They aren't still sure that if they should say it or not, if they should come to you and talk to you or not, or the other way around. Take it as it resonates, okay? And with the, I like your reading. So the 9 of Swords here is right on top of the Hermit in the reverse. So I think that this moment of stress really made you go within and think better about yourself and try to understand your patterns. I think that this is not something that you have done completely yet, since you are still in the 5 of Cups energy here. But I think that you did put a lot of thinking into this situation, a lot of thinking in this happening. But you're coming out of it together with the 9 of Swords in the reverse. So as you come out of this moment of stress, as you come out of this moment of anxiety, you're also coming out of your hermit mode. So it's enough. You did enough inner work. You did enough inner diving here in your psyche. And now it's time to come back to the real life. So the hermit, I see him as that man who goes to the mountains to meditate. And he stays in that cabin at the top of the mountain for a long time meditating and gaining some insights over himself, but then once he's done, it's time to go down, come from the mountain, go down into society and apply and give back to society, which is very 11th house, it's very Aquarian. Give back to 11th house, to the society, what it is that he learned about himself. So how can he put his inner knowledge, his inner awareness now onto service? You know, how can he use it in a practical way? And I think that with the Page of Swords here, it's on top of the 8 of Wands. So I think that if it's you who have been holding back something that you want to say to someone, I think that you're moving fast towards it. I think that you're deciding fast to move, okay? Because the 8 of Wands is also a card of communication, but it's also a card of fast movement. So either the words that you have been waiting for are coming towards you fast, now in the end of December, beginning of end of December, beginning of January, or you are deciding to communicate fast, okay? But then, and this also brings me back to the 5 of Water, right next to the 8 of Wands, we have the 4 of Pentacles. And the 4 of Pentacles here tells me that whatever it is that you want to communicate, you're still not ready to say your whole truth. It's like there is something that you're still holding back. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if someone did something to you and you just want to tell them how it is that you feel. But then, since you haven't gained complete awareness of it yet, of what it really caused you, you gained some awareness from the Hermit, but not all of it. Or if you're still a bit trapped in the pain, in the emotions of it, I think that you don't want to reveal that completely to the other person. I think that there is, for me here, yeah, totally, because we have the 2 of Swords right on top of the 4 of Pentacles. I think that there's a fear here of being too vulnerable. And since you're an air sign, I think that you want to communicate from a rational perspective. I think that you are thinking, what is necessary for me to say? What is strictly necessary? What information can I give so that the person understands what I'm going on, what I want, but without giving too much? You are still afraid of opening up yourself, of really expressing your vulnerability and how it is that you truly feel. And you're thinking, what is enough information for me to pass on to this person? Okay? And I also like this. I really see much better times coming up for you, because we also have this. So under the Hermit, we have the Wheel of Fortune. And the Wheel of Fortune here is in the upright. And it's right next to the 3 of Cups. And the 3 of Cups is a card of celebration, is a card of being with your friends, of being with the people you love, of enjoying the good times, of having fun. So I think that coming out of the stress that the situation caused you, of the grief that it brought to you, I think that you're moving in 2021 celebrating with the people who you enjoy being with, okay? And just seeing some better times coming towards you with the Wheel of Fortune. And actually this ties to me also with this communication, because this 3 of Cups is under the 8 of Pentacles and the Knight of Swords. So it's like this. So what I also see from this is that either you or the other person, okay, so take as it resonates again. So either you want to reach out to this person, but because you are still afraid of being vulnerable, you want to just have this fun, light talk to them, like let's meet, let's have fun, without, so approaching them, but not really talking about how you feel, not being vulnerable, but just trying to have some light-hearted interaction with them. Or if it's you who is waiting for someone to talk to you, then I think that they might approach you in this manner. So instead of them being vulnerable and really saying what that is that they need to say to you, I think that they might come up with just some light-hearted conversations and wanting to hang out and have some fun, etc., but not really saying how it is that they really feel, because they are still holding it back. So either if it's you not wanting to be vulnerable with someone, or if it's someone not wanting to be vulnerable towards you, I see this holding back on what it is that is really going under the surface, okay? And I don't like this lack of vulnerability aspect in your reading here right now because of this. I know that Aquarius is a very fun sign, and I know that you guys are quite detached. And for instance, you are squaring Scorpio, right? You are also a fixed sign, and you are squaring Scorpio. And Scorpio is a lot about the inner feelings, the deep emotions, and Aquarius is more about, we don't need that. We don't need those emotional depths, because we can live here in the higher mind. And all the fixed signs, they have things to learn from each other. Okay, so all especially the opposite axis. So for you, you have a lot to learn from Leo. And Leo talks about deep emotional connections, for instance, seeing the specialness in the individual. So being deep also in our connections, because they want to have deep emotional connections. And this is something that you also need to learn from Leo. So you might want to approach this person from a very detached point of view, just wanting to have fun, but it's also important to understand that we also need true emotional connections in our lives, and for that to happen, we need to be vulnerable, even though it's scary for air signs. And as I'm saying this, like, I know about it, Aquarius, because I have my moon in Gemini, so my emotional nature is quite detached, and I'm very rational myself. So I know that, yes, sometimes it's so much easier to just talk and be rational and be in the mind than being in the feelings, and we just want a deep mental connection. But having the deep emotional connection and being vulnerable to our feelings is also important in building these bridges with other people, okay? And why am I saying this? Because right under this Four of Pentacles, we have the Empress in the reverse. So again, even though you had these transformations with the Hermit in the reverse, I think that the High Priestess in the reverse, and it ties so well with what I said in the beginning, with the Five of Cups, and you not acknowledging the emotional triggers that have been set by this, and why they happened, So the reasons behind these triggers. I see the same thing here with the High Priestess in the reverse. There is a lack of trust in your intuition. There's a lack of going deep in the emotions, I think that you are doing that from a rational point of view with the Hermit, but the High Priestess is about intuition, is about really feeling what is going on. And it's also a card of the unconscious, because the High Priestess is a card of Pisces. And as I was saying in the beginning, with all the Capricorn stuff happening in your 12th house, and 12th house is the house of Pisces, there's a lot going on in your subconscious. A lot of unconscious patterns that have been brought up to the surface with this whole situation here that you're not completely acknowledging. So maybe you are acknowledging the stress and the pain that the situation caused you, but not understanding why is it that it was so painful? Why did it hurt you? If it hurt you, then it was triggering some wounded aspects of your psyche, and it's important to understand that. So not just rationalizing that, oh, it was stressful, it was this, it was that. So not just seeing it from the surface level, but also digging deep in the Neptunian and Plutonian aspects of it, so the emotional aspects of it, to understand why did it trigger you. So the High Priestess asks this. It's nice to have the fun interaction, and if you have been missing this person and there's something you want to talk to them about, it's good that you're getting the courage to talk to them, or that they are getting the courage to talk to you. But the High Priestess asks you to do that, to not see it so much from the rational mind, even though it's hard for you because you are an air sign, but try to see it from the emotional side as well. Try to go deep, even if it's hurtful. There's something in there, there's an aspect in there that was being triggered for you. And understanding those triggers, why it was happening, and what is this wound, is something that will be helpful to you. But for that, you also need to be vulnerable. You need to show yourself. You need to express that, okay? And I think that this is important here, to have this vulnerability. And maybe some of you are also thinking, no, but I see this all for myself, but I don't have to communicate this to this person, okay? And if that's the case, then fine. If you understand this and if you see it for yourself, but you just don't think that this is this person's problem, and then you don't need to be vulnerable to them, then great, okay? Then as long as you understand it, that's what matters. But I also think that if this is someone whom you want to reconnect with and whom you want to rebuild something with trust with, then this vulnerability needs to happen, because it's necessary for a deep emotional connection, for a true emotional connection with someone that is beyond the mental connection, the rational, the erudite. Erudite, is that the word? I don't know, I think I'm saying bullshit. But, it's beyond that mind and rational connection. To really be with someone and to really be friends and develop a friendship, a romantic partnership, or whatever it is, we need to show the painful parts of ourselves sometimes. We need to be vulnerable with them, okay? And then I also want to say this to you, and I do think that this was indeed a very important connection for you, whatever sense it was, because maybe this was also not a romantic connection, okay? Maybe this was a business partnership that went to an end, and you have been wanting to say something to your business partner for a while, and you were holding it back and not saying what it is that you really felt, how things went down really made you feel, but I do see this as someone else involved, because as I was shuffling, I saw the bottom of the deck, so I separated it for you here. And the bottom of the deck was the Lovers. So the Lovers is a deep soul connection, okay? Even if it's not in the real world right now, it's still a very strong soul connection. So this was brought into your life to teach you something, to trigger something, to bring something to the surface, okay? So let's see what I have for you here. I will take some oracle cards. Okay, that's very interesting for Aquarius, because we got the card flexible. And Aquarius, you are a fixed sign. So even though you are an air sign and you're ruled by Uranus, which is this very crazy, freaky planet, very different and very innovative, you are a fixed sign. So you are very set on your ways in how you think that things are supposed to be, because you're also ruled by Saturn, and Saturn is the structure. So when Saturn combines with Uranus in the sign of Aquarius, right? That they both rule Aquarius, that's what I mean. Not that they are combining right now, but they both rule Aquarius. So when they combine in the sign of Aquarius, it's like Saturn still wants the structure. It's still about how the world should be. But it's just that Uranus has this very innovative vision of how the world should be. So it's a structured but innovative way of seeing the new society. And you can be very set in that because of that. So this card asks you to be flexible, be open, be flexible, Let yourself be taken a bit. There's no need to try and control everything. I know that you are a super smart sign, and you see things ahead of others, and I think that that's where this feeling of I know better comes from. All of the fixed sign have this aspect of I know better, and I'm a Scorpio, so I know I'm also very stubborn, and we always think that we know better, but in this case, be flexible, be open to other ways of being, to other ways of doing things. Even if you're a very smart person, you're a very smart sign, and you know much ahead of others, you don't know everything, So be flexible to the new possibilities and to the new perspectives. And I have so many Aquarius people in my life. It's crazy. I attract Aquarians like crazy. My cousin is an Aquarius, my mom is an Aquarius, 2 of my exes are Aquarians, like I attract Aquarians like crazy. That's really good. So I got the card love for you. And I just saw the lovers right in the bottom of the deck as I showed to you. So with this card love, I think that there is either the possibility of love still with this person, or there is new love coming into you in the year of 2021, okay? But I think that wrapping it up and learning this vulnerability is something that will be important for you to go after this new love. Because if this is a new person and this is a new love that is coming up to you, if you still go towards it with an inflexible mindset, with the fear of being vulnerable, then you might go into the same patterns and the same problems that you had before. You might keep facing that over and over again. So I see new love coming to you, but it's very important to be flexible and to learn these lessons that this year have been trying to teach you. You know, to be more vulnerable, to be more open to others, so that this can flow in a much better way for you, okay, Aquarius? So this is all I have for you today, and I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you in the next reading in the month of January. Take care. Bye-bye.